Today we'll be focusing on pelvic floor relaxation. So this is super important, especially in times like this, because when our pelvic floor is not relaxed, we often experience pelvic pain. And this can feel like cramping, stabbing, burning, stinging. It can be felt in our pelvis, in our hips, low back, in our abdomen. And additionally, when we're in pain, our brain perceives that as danger, and it kind of turns on that fight or flight response. So our whole nervous system kind of gets ramped up, and our muscles further tighten, which increases our symptoms. And so today, my goal is to show you how to tap into your nervous system, how to relax your muscles, and how to hopefully reduce your symptoms. And what class is going to look like today is we're going to start with some breath work and just kind of abdominal massage and relaxation. We'll be doing some gentle stretching. We'll cool down with some breath work. And then we'll dive into that Q&A. So we can go ahead and get started. So what I'll have you do first is you're just going to find a comfortable position on the floor. And we'll start off on our backs. So I want you to lay in a position that's completely comfortable for you. So whether that means legs are straight in front of you, you can have your knees bent, or if at home you're nearby a couch or a chair, sometimes people find it really comfortable to kind of place their knees and their feet up on that surface. Again, whatever's comfortable for you. We're going to start off with some diaphragmatic breathing. When we're doing diaphragmatic breathing, we really want to think about breathing three-dimensionally. So that means breathing not only through our belly, but through our sides and our low back. So what we'll do to start is first take a deep breath in. And we're going to do about 10 breaths here, breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. Really thinking about filling your belly up with air. Good, so let's take 3 more breaths here. Awesome. From here, we're going to try adding in that pelvic floor relaxation component. So when we think about the pelvic floor, these are muscles that sit at the bottom of our pelvis like a bowl or a sling. And they help to support your bladder, your uterus, and your rectum. So as we're breathing now, with each inhale, we want to think about those pelvic floor muscles completely relaxing and lengthening underneath us, completely letting go, almost like they're just melting underneath you. So now we're going to take 10 big breaths in, exhaling through your mouth. And relaxing your pelvic floor. Good. Let's take 3 more breaths. Awesome. For these last 10 breaths, I want us to think about adding in a pelvic drop. And what that looks like or feels like is that sensation you get right before you're about to initiate a bowel movement, or if you're about to urinate, you're just gently kind of lengthening those muscles. So with each inhale, you're going to let those muscles lengthen and returning back to baseline as you exhale. We'll do that 10 times. Good. Let's do 3 more here. So from here, we're going to start to do a little bit of abdominal massage. And abdominal massage is really nice if you notice that you experience cramping or bloating, gas pain that can be related to your pelvic pain or your diagnosis. What we'll do is we'll start on your left side. So starting right underneath your left ribs, we're going to gently stroke our hands down toward our left hip, and we're going to do that 5 times. And you can use whatever pressure is comfortable for you. For some, that might be a deeper pressure. For others, it might be very, very gentle. You can use your fingertips. You can use the palm of your hand, whatever feels best. We'll do 2 more in this direction. Good. And so I like to call this the ILU massage. We just drew the letter I here. The next is L. You're going to start from your right ribs, go over toward your left ribs, and down toward your left hip. We're going to go ahead and do that 5 times. Good. And the last component is an upside down U. You're going to start from your right hip bone, stroke up toward your right rib, go across to your left rib, and then down to your left hip bone. And we'll do that 5 times. Good, keep going. Awesome. Let's take 3 big breaths to reset. Again, we'll be doing that diaphragmatic breathing, breathing 3-dimensionally in through your belly. Really focusing on just letting your abdomen go. Everything is nice and soft and relaxed. Good. So we're going to repeat that abdominal massage 2 more times, starting with our starting with the letter I, stroking downwards 5 times. We'll start with the upside down L 5 times. And then with the upside down U 5 times. Again, whatever pressure is comfortable for you. Good, and then we'll take 3 big breaths to reset. Good. Last cycle through that abdominal massage, starting on your left side 5 times. And what we're doing here is we're actually tracing the route of your intestines. So here, we're kind of stroking downward toward that descending colon. And then with our upside down L, starting on your right side, underneath your ribs, stroking down toward your left hip. That's transverse colon to descending colon. And then lastly, our upside down U, we're moving from right hip to right rib, over to left rib, down to left hip. We're going ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon. So just kind of helping things to relax and move easily through that digestive tract. This can be really great if you suffer from any kind of constipation, again, bloating, gas pain. Really just helps to abdominal pain, helps those muscles relax. And we'll do 5 reset breaths here. Big breath in. And as we're breathing, don't forget to check in with your pelvic floor. As we introduce new movements, really want to check in to make sure that we're not forgetting to relax those muscles. Let's do 2 more breaths. Awesome. So now we're going to move into some gentle stretching. We're going to start with our left leg. And the goal for these stretches is to stretch muscles that attach the pelvis that can be related to pelvic pain, or that can kind of tighten up in response to pelvic pain. We're going to start with a piriformis or glute stretch on our left side. So what you're going to do is take your left leg and cross it over so that your ankle is resting on your right leg. And then you can kind of perform this in a couple of different ways. If you have the flexibility, you can bring your knee toward your chest and hold on with your hands and stretch this way. You can lift your head if you need to. If that's too much, you can also just press downwards on your knee to get a similar stretch. We're going to go ahead and hold this for 8 breaths here. Good. Letting that go, we're going to straighten this right leg. We're going to take our left leg and place our hand on the inside of our knee. And from here, we're going to stretch our inner thigh and pelvic floor muscles. And we're going to hold this one for 8 breaths. You can either just keep your hand on the inside of your knee. If it's more comfortable, you can use 2 hands. And if that doesn't feel good on your hip, you can always just open up your hip in this direction and still get a similar stretch. Holding on to this for a few more breaths here, breathing in through your belly. All of these stretches should feel comfortable. Don't feel like you have to really pull or yank on your muscles, just kind of easing into that stretch. From here, we're gonna move into happy baby. So we're gonna pull both knees up toward our chest, take our hands on the insides of our knees, and then pull outward. So that we're again stretching inner thighs and pelvic floor. You can either perform the stretch in this position. If you want to deepen the stretch even more, you can reach up to grab the inside of your feet, or you can bring your feet together, open up your hips this way to get a similar stretch. I'm going to stretch in this position, and let's hold this for a few more breaths. Okay, we're going to move on to our right side. So we'll kind of do the same exact thing here. We're going to start with that single leg happy baby. So taking our right hand inside of the right knee, pulling gently toward the floor. Again, you can use both hands, or you can rest your leg down, whatever feels best on your low back and through your hip. Additionally, if you feel like you need a little bit more low back support, you can always bend that opposite leg too to keep your spine a bit more neutral. So holding this here, let's take 3 more big breaths. Awesome. And then we'll move back into our piriformis stretch now on our right side. So right ankle is crossing over your left leg. We're pulling left leg toward our chest. Again, you can have your head up, your head can be relaxed, or you can push into your knee. Holding this stretch. Again, this is a good time to check in with your pelvic floor. Make sure that you're not clenching by accident. Good, let's take 2 more breaths here. Okay, we're gonna cycle through this 2 more times. This time we'll hold each stretch for 5 breaths instead of 8. So we're gonna start with that piriformis stretch on the left side, pulling knee to chest, 5 breaths. Good. Straightening or bending this opposite leg, moving into that single leg happy baby, inner thigh stretch. 5 breaths. Good. Double leg happy baby. Gently pulling knees apart to stretch out inner thighs and pelvic floor. Again, modifications, staying here, grabbing inside of your foot, or simply bringing feet together, knees apart. Let's hold this for 2 more breaths. Okay, moving on to the right side, we're gonna drop this right leg, keeping it bent or straight, into single leg happy baby, 5 times. And into that piriformis stretch on the right side, knee to chest. 5 breaths here. Okay, we're gonna cycle through that 1 more time, holding each stretch for 3 breaths. Hopefully you feel like your muscles are loosening up a little bit, things are letting go. We're gonna start with piriformis stretch on your left side, knee to chest, 3 big breaths here. Okay, moving into single leg happy baby, 3 breaths. Double leg happy baby. Moving on to the right side, 3 times. And lastly, glute stretch on the right side. 3 breaths here. Great. From here, we're gonna do a little bit of mobility exercises for your spine. Again, sometimes pelvic pain can present like low back pain, and in response to that pain, we can develop tension in our jaw, in our necks, upper back, shoulders. So I just wanna make sure we're addressing a little bit of everything today. We're gonna start with just some pelvic rocking side to side. So just kind of letting your knees fall from right to left. We're gonna do this about 10 times here. Again, just kind of move through a range of motion that's comfortable for you. Don't feel like you have to go all the way to the floor. I want this just to be slow and controlled. Just kind of getting that low back warmed up. Let's go 4 more times. Good. From here, you're gonna roll onto your side. You're gonna keep your bottom leg straight. Top leg is gonna drape over and your knee is going to be bent. You're gonna rest your head on your hand. And this is one of my favorite stretches for your upper back. What I want you to do is inhale as you reach as far forward as you can. Exhale as you reach back. Inhale here. Exhale here. Trying to ensure that the motion is coming from your upper back and not from rotation of your hips. So try to keep that top hip as still as you can. If this is uncomfortable for your shoulder, you can always keep that range of motion a little bit less by placing your hand on your chest and just rotating from your spine. Let's do 2 more. Good. So at home, I'm gonna have you roll over onto your left side. For demonstration purposes, I'll be here, hand underneath my head, bottom leg straight, top leg's gonna be draped over. Inhaling as I reach as far forward as I can. Exhaling as I reach back. It's okay to feel a little bit of a pop or a click sometimes. Again, all of us are super stiff through our upper backs, especially if we've been working from home or spending more time on the computer. Let's do 2 more. Okay, we're gonna repeat that 1 more time. Going back on our backs, we're gonna do 10 of those low back rotations. Nice and easy, breathing is relaxed, pelvic floor is relaxed, just moving from side to side. Good. We'll go back into our open books. You can start on whatever side is comfortable. I'm going to start on my left side. Inhaling as I reach forward, exhaling as I reach back. All right, let's do 3 more on this side. And then we'll switch over to our other side. Bottom leg straight, top leg bent, resting our heads, inhaling as we reach, exhaling as we look back. Nice job, 3 more. Great. So now for this portion, we're going to move into some more dynamic stretches just to, again, get you moving a little bit. We're going to go into a tabletop position. So what that means is you're going to have your hands right underneath your shoulders and your knees right underneath your hips. From here, we're going to go into a cat-cow. You're going to be looking up, kind of leading with your pelvis and inhaling. As you exhale, you're going to round your spine up toward the ceiling and look down. Inhale, looking up. Letting your belly go, pelvic floor is relaxed, shoulders are away from your ears. Exhale, looking down. If this is at all uncomfortable for your back, you can either just do this extended position and return to neutral, or you can just do the flex position and return to neutral, whatever feels best for you. Let's go ahead and do this 4 more times. Good. From here, we're going to move into a child's pose position. I really like this stretch because it stretches a little bit of everything from upper back, low back, hips, pelvic floor. I like to have my knees just slightly wider than my hips, and I'm going to sink back toward my heels. If that's not comfortable, you can always keep knees together and sink back this way. You're going to reach forward with your arms and try to gently rest your head against the mat. If this is uncomfortable for your shoulders, you can always bring your arms in closer to you. But we're going to hold this for about 5 breaths. Okay, cycling through that 2 more times. We'll go back into our cat-cow and whatever modification feels best for you. 10 times. And you can totally go at your own pace. Good. Now that we've done 10, we'll sink back into that child's pose. Again, whatever modification feels good. Holding this for 5 breaths. Checking in with pelvic floor, making sure we're not clenching. Okay, 1 more time here. Tabletop position, knees under hips, hands under shoulders, looking up, inhaling, letting belly and pelvic floor go. Exhale, rounding up. Good. 2. Good. And last time we'll check, or we'll sink into that child's pose. 5 big breaths here. Okay. This last dynamic stretch will actually be standing for. So I'll step back so you can see me. What you're going to do is practice relaxing your pelvic floor while you're standing. It's one thing to be able to do it while you're sitting or while you're laying down, but we need to make sure we're not clenching those muscles at all times. So from here, what I want you to do is inhale, letting your belly and pelvic floor go as you reach up. Exhale, arms down. Good. Let's do this 4 more times. From here, I have a couple of different options. First option is you're going to spread your feet apart and you're just going to shift your weight from side to side to stretch out your pelvic floor and inner thigh muscles. To deepen the stretch, you can bend forward and you can shift your hips from side to side. Again, stretching those exact same muscles. Or if you feel like you have the mobility and you feel comfortable in this position, you can hold a deep squat. I'm going to hold this stretch, but I'm happy or feel free to hold whichever stretch feels best for you. Let's go ahead and hold this for 5 breaths. Okay, standing back up nice and slow. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhaling, exhaling. We're still breathing 3-dimensionally through our belly, our sides, and our low back. We're thinking about our pelvic floor melting underneath us. Shoulders are relaxed, jaw is relaxed. Good. And into that stretch. To review those versions, we have moving our hips side to side. We can bend forward and move side to side, or we can hold the deep squat. 5 breaths here. Great. 1 more time. Inhaling as arms go up. Exhaling as arms go down. Good. 3 more times. Okay, and last stretch here. Hips side to side, bending forward side to side, or deep squat. 5 breaths. Awesome. Almost done. We're going to move back onto the mat on your back. We're going to do a little bit of nerve flossing. So we're going to place our hip at 90 degrees. Our hands are going to be right underneath our knee. Note they're not on top of my knee, they're just gently underneath. I'm going to pull my toes toward me, and I'm just going to bring my foot up until I feel a little bit of resistance and then back off. When it comes to pelvic pain, endometriosis especially, sometimes our nerves can be involved. And so this stretch is nice to improve the mobility of related nerves and also to give you a great hamstring stretch. Okay, I'm going to put that leg down. I'm going to do the same thing on my left side. Toes are pulled toward me, leg goes up and back down. If this isn't comfortable for your back, you can always bend up this knee to place your back in more of a neutral position. Good. One more time on each side. Back to the right side. Nice and gentle. Switching over to my left side. Awesome. Just to kind of reset, let's go back into that happy baby pose and just gently pull our knees apart. Remember, modifications, you can grab inside of your feet or legs can come down, feet together. Let's hold this for 3 big breaths. From here, I'm going to go ahead and have you come up to a seated position. We'll just do a couple of gentle stretches for your neck muscles. We're going to bring right ear to right shoulder. Jaw is relaxed. This is meant to be comfortable. So don't feel like you have to push into it, or if this is feeling painful, back off. If you do feel like you need to deepen the stretch, you can take your right hand and tug very, very gently toward your shoulder. We'll switch to the left side, left ear to left shoulder. Next stretch, we're going to bring right ear to right shoulder, and then we're going to roll down to look toward our armpit. For some, this might feel like a perfect stretch. For others, we might need to deepen it a little bit more. So we'll gently place our hand on top of our head, looking down into our armpit, stretching out the back of our neck, where we often hold tension. Okay, other side. Left ear to left shoulder, rolling our head down to look toward our armpit, either staying here or gentle tug with our left hand. Great. So to end the class, we're going to completely cool down back with our breath. So we'll go on our back into that comfortable position we started in, either flat on our back or feet up and supported. Tuning into that diaphragmatic breathing, checking in with your pelvic floor, breathing three-dimensionally through your belly, your sides, and your low back. We're visualizing pelvic floor lengthening and relaxing underneath us, like the muscles are just completely melting, letting go. Lastly, if you're able, if it feels comfortable, we'll add in those pelvic drops, remembering that in order to achieve that pelvic drop, it's almost like we're just about to initiate that bowel movement, or we're trying to urinate. We're kind of just lengthening and relaxing those sphincters just a little bit. Doesn't have to be force-filled, doesn't have to feel like you're bearing down. We're going to do that with each inhale. Two more big breaths. Okay, you can come up to a seated position. And that is your pelvic floor relaxation class. I hope you guys are feeling more relaxed and that you have kind of a toolbox of different exercises and stretches that you can do when you're feeling symptomatic or if you're feeling muscle tightness, pain. But now we can move into our Q&A.